Today's reading is SCP-5031 from the SCP Foundation. Note: File under review. This document has been flagged for possible methodical issues. Please be aware that the following information is subject to change and may contain inaccuracies. Item number: SCP-5031. Object Class: Keter. Special Container Procedures. SCP-5031 is to be contained in an airtight iron cell in Biosite 59. The structure must be inspected for imperfections on a bi-weekly basis. No other interaction necessary. Description: SCP-5031 is a non-sapient quasi-humanoid creature of unknown origin. When directly observed, SCP-5031 will temporarily cease to exist until the viewer stops observing the space that SCP-5031 formerly occupied. Traces of its existence, e.g., scratch marks and blood trails, continue to exist when SCP-5031 does not. Video and photography devices do not capture SCP-5031's appearance. However, observing SCP-5031's shadow does not cause cessation of existence, allowing certain physiological traits to be inferred from its silhouette. Abnormally small head with no discernible neck, elbows branch into 3 sets of lower arms each, elongated torso approximately 1.9 meters in length. Pelvis terminates in a crescent-shaped protrusion of osseous tissue with a blade-like lower edge, levitates above the ground at a fixed height of 0.5 meters. While SCP-5031 has no nutritional needs, it will nevertheless hunt and consume any human or animal it encounters by using its pendulous lower body to down targets. SCP-5031 does not sleep and is incapable of expression or verbal communication. Addendum: as of February 14th, 2018, Senior Researcher Stanley Huxtable is now acting in the role of HMCL Supervisor for SCP-5031. The following is a selection of relevant correspondences from Senior Huxtable to Site Director Yusuf Mostafi, elucidating research progress. February 14th, 2018. Initial impressions. I have no idea who wrote this, but there's a lot I'd like to say to them. I'm not a fan of abandoning a living creature inside a metal box for 10 years, no matter how pragmatic it may be. It's difficult to fathom that such things were considered the norm a decade ago. Have you ever heard something scream from behind 10 inches of iron for hours on end? When I do my redraft, remind me to add anomalous resistance to hoarseness somewhere in the description. Could you work your magic and get the boys to retrofit their containment cube with an aperture and security vestibule? I'd like to run some tests that require exposing SCP-5031 to certain stimuli. March 8th. 2018. Round 1 Tests. Sound. Summary. Forward. Installed speakers in the containment vestibule and played various albums of natural ambiance and popular music. SCP-5031's propensity for screaming works as a convenient way to measure its stress levels. 100% would be considered its typical screaming, volume and duration, over 48 hours, and 0% would be no screaming at all. Test 1. Selection. Morning forest ambiance. Stress level, 43%. Test 2. Selection. Seaside paradise ambiance. Stress level, 48%. Test 3. Selection. Deep grotto ambiance. Stress level, 62%. Test 4. Selection. The best of Mozart. Stress level, 13%. Test 5. Selection. The best of Enya. Stress level, 18%. Test 6. Selection. The best of Ben Folds. Stress level, 6%. Test 7. Selection. The best of Jethro Tull. Stress level, 59%. Test 8. Selection. The best of Kiss. Stress level, 23%. Afterward, efficiency of music for stress reduction gradually decreases over time. I've assembled a playlist of SCP-5031's favorite music to play on shuffle in its enclosure in perpetuity. Stress levels consistently remain in the 15% to 25% range. Baseline adjusted accordingly. March 22nd, 2018. Round 2 Tests. Play. Summary. Forward. Additional retrofitting was made to the containment chamber to facilitate observation, namely the integration of reinforced viewing windows arranged behind a scrim, onto which shadows may be projected by use of lamps placed on the opposite wall. Test 1. Tossed softball into enclosure. Result. SCP-5031 sliced the ball in 2. Test 2. Toss basketball into enclosure. SCP-5031 sliced the ball open. Test 3. Rolled bowling ball into enclosure. Result. SCP-5031 scratched a couple of grooves into the ball, then rolled the ball around the enclosure with the blunt side of its tail for 20 minutes. Stress levels remained under 60% after play. Test 4. Bowling ball chipped to the extent that it would no longer roll properly. Unplanned. Result. Stress levels increased to approximately 115%. Test 5. Replacement bowling ball provided. Result. Stress levels fell back to approximately 40%. Test 6. Rolled additional bowling ball into enclosure. Results. SCP-5031 used the blunt side of its tail to hit the two balls together for a while. Stress levels remained under 40% after play. Test 7. Toss basketball into enclosure. Results: SCP-5031 picked up and played with ball. Stress levels remained under 20% after play. Afterward, SCP-5031 appears to have learned to use its hands to play with the basketball in order to avoid accidentally damaging it. Motor skill comparable to that of a toddler. SCP-5031 still prefers bowling ball for kicking. April 5th, 2018. Round 3 tests. Food. Summary. Forward. SCP-5031 was given the choice between two potential food sources, placed at opposite ends of the enclosure. Test 1. Choices. Human corpse and pig carcass. Selection. Pig carcass. Test 2. Choices. Pig carcass and chicken carcass. Selection. Pig carcass. Test 3. Choices. Pig carcass and rotisserie chicken. Selection. Rotisserie chicken. Test 4. Choices. Chicken carcass and rotisserie chicken. Selection. Rotisserie chicken. Test 5. Choices. Live chicken and rotisserie chicken. Selection. Rotisserie chicken. Test 6. Choices. Roasted turkey and rotisserie chicken. Selection. Neither. Presumed sated. Afterward. While it's true that SCP-5031 doesn't necessarily need to eat, feeding it regularly has caused a marked decrease in average stress levels. Stress reduction seems to scale proportionally with the quality of food provided. Also of note is that SCP-5031 prefers to use its tail to pry and cut meat into bite-sized portions, rather than rip the meat into chunks with its teeth or hands. April 12, 2018. Round 4 tests. Coexistence. Summary. Test 1. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject. Common chicken. Introduced to enclosure. Result. SCP-5031 observed subject from a distance for several minutes, and then rolled a bowling ball toward the subject at high speed. Subject was killed instantly. SCP-5031's stress levels rose immediately and drastically. Test 2. Bowling balls removed from enclosure. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject. Common chicken. Introduced to enclosure. Result. SCP-5031 gently rolled a basketball toward subject. Ball hit subject lightly. Subject responded with a small cry and moved away. SCP-5031 did not engage with subject further. Test 3. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject. Class D, blindfolded, introduced to enclosure, and instructed to sit and roll basketball forward, then wait until it came back and roll it away again. Result. Subject in SCP-5031 successfully rolled the ball back and forth for several minutes. SCP-5031 eventually abandoned the activity and approached subject. Per safety protocol, subject removed their blindfold to terminate the activity. Test 4. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, Class D, introduced to the enclosure, and instructed to toss a tennis ball at the wall, let it ricochet behind them, then catch and repeat. Result. SCP-5031 stood behind subject and successfully engaged in a game of catch, mimicking subject's action of letting the ball ricochet against the wall. Afterward, SCP-5031's motor skills appear to be rapidly improving. May 16th, 2018. Round 5 tests. Symbols. Summary. Forward. 5 LCD displays were fitted into the wall of SCP-5031's enclosure, each with a lit button and a food dispenser underneath. Test 1. 2 stations activated. Screen 1 displayed the image of a rock. Its button dispensed rocks. Screen 2 displayed the image of a rotisserie chicken. Its button dispensed pieces of chicken. Result. SCP-5031 poked at the image of a chicken for a few minutes and eventually hit the button. Chicken was dispensed until SCP-5031 was satisfied. Test 2. Screen displays and the materials dispensed were swapped. Result. SCP-5031 hit the button it had hit the previous day and received a rock. It then went to the other screen and hit the button to dispense chicken. Test 3. Screen displays and materials dispensed were swapped back to their original positions and set to swap again at random intervals after first distribution. Result. SCP-5031 went directly to the button next to the image of a chicken. Experienced apparent confusion after the first mid-distribution swap, but quickly learned to watch the images. Test 4. 3 more stations, screens, buttons, and dispensers were activated. 4 stations displayed the word rock and dispensed rocks. 1 station displayed the word chicken and dispensed chicken. Arrangement set to change randomly several times over the following days. Result. Through trial and error, SCP-5031 determined which station dispensed chicken. SCP-5031 subsequently went to the station marked chicken whenever displays were swapped. Test 5. All stations deactivated except 1. Screen displayed the word chicken. 7 wooden blocks were set in front of the station, each marked with one of the letters in the word chicken. The station's button was set to remain unlit and inactive until the blocks were arranged in the correct order. Result. SCP-5031 experienced apparent frustration, hitting the inactive button repeatedly and striking the wall with his tail. Test 6. Same as previous tests, but screen displayed the word chicken with each letter overlaid on a photo of a wooden block. Result: after 12 minutes, SCP-5031 successfully assembled the word chicken. Afterward, it can learn language Yusuf. August 29th, 2018. Round 6 tests. Vocabulary. Results: Forward: SCP-5031 has learned to use letter blocks to form the following words. Foods: chicken, turkey, pork, tofu, beef, bread, more salt, more pepper, more cooked. Music: Mozart, Enya, Ben Folds, forest, seaside, white noise, more volume, less volume, silence, play, basketball, bowling ball, tennis ball, cat, dog, human, Robert, Stanley, alone. Afterward, through its increased vocabulary and human interaction, SCP-5031 has made the following progress. Established food preferences and dish pairings. Learned to sing non-verbally. Learned to juggle. Six-handed juggling is something to behold. October 5th, 2018. Round 7 tests. Activities. Summary. Test 1. Introduce table, paper, and crayons into the enclosure. Live subject, D52125, instructed to demonstrate drawing for SCP-5031. Result: SCP-5031 learned to draw. Discernible subjects depicted in its artworks include D52125, SCP-5031, a rotisserie chicken, a cat, and myself. Test 2. Introduce piano to the enclosure. Live subject, D52125, instructed to play chopsticks blindfolded, and invite SCP-5031 to play along. Subject had time to practice beforehand. Result: SCP-5031 learned chopsticks in 2 days, though it appeared more interested in making its own original music, complete with vocals. These compositions might be considered crude by human standards. Test 3. Introduce spice rack into the enclosure. Live subject, D52125, instructed to demonstrate seasoning meats. Result: SCP-5031 spent almost 3 straight days experimenting with different combinations of food and spices. SCP-5031 assembled the words more with its letter blocks after running out of garlic powder. Afterward, SCP-5031 only engages in art and music when accompanied by D52125, but it continues to be preoccupied with food preparation even when alone. January 4th, 2019. Round 8 tests. Cooking. Results. Forward: basic kitchen utilities installed in an enclosure. Live subject, D52125, instructed to demonstrate preparation of various recipes. Recipes learned: quesadilla, taco, hamburger, fried rice, Mongolian beef, spicy chicken curry, chocolate chip cookies, sponge cake with buttercream, fudge, clam chowder, steak, macaroons, chicken adobo, smoked salmon, and profiteroles. Afterward, SCP-5031 has a severe peanut allergy. This should be included in the revised containment procedures. I would also like to know that SCP-5031 is now a better chef than the average human, and it has begun to create its own recipes. D52125 has volunteered to taste test. June 30th, 2019. Update: SCP-5031 has had its first word. Salt. We are all immensely proud. November 29th, 2019. Final test. Summary. SCP-5031 was given 2 months to develop a 3-course meal to serve at the Biosite 59 cafeteria for personnel working over Thanksgiving. Its selections were as follows. First course: sweet potato turmeric miso soup. Second course: duck confit with apple cider glaze and cranberry compote topping, paired with butternut squash gnocchi on a bed of kale, seasoned with truffle salt. Third course: a slice of spiced cassava pie, topped with French vanilla ice cream and a maple hazelnut syrup. SCP-5031 also debuted its original composition, Piano Sonata for 6 Hands, in a live performance broadcast from its enclosure. Personnel response was overwhelmingly positive. SCP-5031 stress levels at 0%. Testing successfully concluded. Revised documentation submitted for approval. This article is written by PeppersGhost from the SCP Wiki.